In a world full of chaos and endless moving pieces, I find myself struggling to focus. There are so many distractions, and the worst are the things you are envious about. Envy, I think, is the main killer of society, and with social media, things get a lot more chaotic, as it is easier to see what we don't have and what we want. All of these things just end up hurting us, and I find myself desiring to isolate myself. It's times like these I think back to the simple days when I actually have time to sit down, focus on me, and make sure I am getting better. Because at the end of the day, if we are good enough, we will always be able to get what we currently don't have. The problem is, how do we find ourselves again? I found myself lost and decided to go to a bar. It had been a long time since I went to a bar by myself, so I was quite hesitant. Whether it was walking to my car, driving there alone, or walking into the bar, it was quite scary. I was afraid people would judge me, so I picked a classier bar knowing the place was a bit quieter. I wanted some time alone that wasn't inside my house where I would lock myself up. Anyways, I needed a new environment to change my pace and then to find the real me again. You know it's quite different when you sit alone in a new environment. The bar for me was quite empowering and it really settled me down. The heavy wooden doors, the beautiful wood counters, and just someone there to take care of me. After an hour, I really felt settled in. It was this moment that I felt comfort and strength. And this is why we created the Lonely Chair. A coffee meant to give the feeling of strength and comfort, just like how the chair supports us. It's comforting and strong. And to recreate this feeling through a coffee, I decided to look for a stronger coffee. Not just a darker roast, but one that's naturally stronger. Heavier textures in mind come from Guatemala and Colombia, at least for me. Especially a natural or honey processed. I decided on a natural one because it has a nice deep flavor to it. When it's roasted lighter, it has a lot more of the cherries and the red fruit flavors. But since I took it to a medium, I get this amazing milk chocolate and red fruit sweetness. It's just this wonderful combination of warm, deep, and sweet. So it's my first time filming a video like this. I've actually never really directly talked about one of my coffees before. I just wanted to tell a story and kind of move forward with this kind of format every time I have a new idea or a new story to come up. So let me know in the comments below if you guys like this kind of idea and what I can improve to kind of share this story better. But it is actually a real story. I actually did at one point in time find myself very lost, and I did go to a bar to really just calm down. And as I was sitting in the bar, I just sat back and I felt the support in the chair, and it was just a really like thick, heavy leather chair. Not the one in the video, but like, you know, that one was a nicer chair, and it was really comforting to sit in, and it actually felt like it was supporting me the whole time. So thinking back to those days, I actually wanted to create a coffee that had a similar vibe. And in the rest of the video, I actually want to talk about this and then show you guys how I would brew that kind of texture and flavor out. Now, if you guys are new here, my name is Vincent and I'm actually the head roaster for Tails Coffee. In fact, I actually do all the coffee related stuff. And if you guys love this kind of storytelling idea and learning more brewing techniques, make sure to follow me, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you can get the latest updates on my newest techniques. Now, if I'm trying to brew a coffee that's going to be stronger and kind of deeper, it just means I'm looking to create a sweeter and heavier texture. And to really do so, you want to make sure you pour really slow and then have a decently quick finish time. Now, the reason you want to do that is because the faster it tends to finish, the sweeter it is. The longer you extract your coffee for, the more of these bitters and kind of like heavy, like super acidic flavor notes start to show up. And so what I like to do with this coffee is brew it using the Hario V60, but the 0.1 size. The 0.1 size, because it is smaller, allows me to pour much closer to the coffee. And being closer, you actually get a gentler coffee. And when you get that kind of gentler agitation, the flow rate can actually be quite quick. Now on the flip side, if I wanted to have a heavier texture, having it brew too fast doesn't make too much sense unless we have a tighter ratio. And so by that, I mean, we're gonna be brewing a coffee that is a 1:13 ratio. And in this particular dripper, 20 grams of beans to 260 grams of water is actually going to be quite strong. That's because we're able to pour low and slow and then kind of maintain that pace. And if you could just imagine in the dripper, let's say in the dripper, the whole time the water level is just like this. It just creates this compact and dense flavor because you're fully extracting as it just kind of stays and lifts at this height. This means all the particles are going to be circulating up here, nothing's going to be clogging down, and all the water is just going to be slowly running through, kind of evenly extracting everything. And by being slower, you're going to have a later first drip, and that's what's going to create the heavier texture. This particular bean, the Lonely Chair, because it is a medium roast, we're going to have a little bit more gases than kind of like your lighter roast, and so it doesn't actually sink too quickly. So what that means is we're going to want to set the coffee bed a little bit higher, not too deep of a V, because it will naturally push itself out. And if we want to have a heavier texture, you want to have a longer duration between the first drip to come out, and that just is dealt with by having a higher bed. And having a higher bed, we're going to be able to pour slower, a long first drip, but a very quick brew is what's going to give us that sweetness. So let's get right onto the other side. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to brew this coffee. All right. So we're back on the side. I've got the dripper already preset. We're going to be using 90-degree water today. And we're going to first get our grinds in here. Now the grinds themselves are more on the medium fine. If you guys want to take a look, that's what it would look like. So we've got ourselves some more of the medium fine side. In terms of microns, if you were looking for that, it's about 350, I guess. And you guys can see at the bottom, the scale says it's 19.4 grams of beans. Now, like I said in the video earlier, we're just gonna settle the grounds. Remember to always stir the grinds. What this does is it helps loosen it up and make sure there's no clumps in it at all. We're gonna give it a quick tap, and I tapped a little bit harder because I want to pack a little bit tighter so that this way the first drip takes a little bit longer to kind of leave. And if you guys want to take a look, it's not too of a shallow bed. Let's get that in focus. Yeah, it's more of a flatter bed, nothing too deep. So it is more on the shallow side, my bad. Got the kettle ready here, and yeah, you saw it was about 19.4 grams, so we're gonna end at like 270 grams of water. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start nice and slow in the middle, and just kind of stay with it. You can kind of see that a lot of the grinds are just rising and puffing up to the sides. It shows that underneath there's going to be a lot of gases, and what we need to do is just break the crust to make sure we get enough agitation to free up all the gases. And you can see the crema or the cream kind of come into the top, and then a lot of the darker grinds starting to float. What we're going to do is now stay stable right in the middle until this starts to crack a lot more. And this just kind of, like I said, just holds all the water up there, and everything is getting kind of extracted evenly. We're just going to go all the way to the edges, and that's your 270. And we're going to give it a quick stir from outside to in, all the way down to the middle, and lift. And that is how I like to brew the Lonely Chair. By having this faster time, you can already start to see everything's already about to sink down, and we're already at the 1:15 time. You can notice the texture, the crema is already starting to leave the edges, and that just means the beans have mostly sank. And as the beans start to peak, it's only at 125, 127. This is how you know you've got yourself that deeper body, but the sweeter flavor profile. And it's purely because we've just got that faster brew, but everything is fully extracted. It's about 139 to finish. Give it a quick tap, let all the remaining waters go down, and that's how I like to brew my lonely chair. Now I just wanted to show you guys what it kind of looks like. Yeah, the edges are pasty, but the middle is granular. You're gonna see that there's a tiny little dome. That's just because of the way we stirred. Nothing crazy. The side here, this kind of lighter brown color, you can see that there's a lot more. The color is actually just from the foam. The crema itself sticks to the walls, and these are all indicators that we've protected the water from kind of going towards the edge of the paper and actually going through the middle instead. So let's get back to the other side and finish off this coffee. Yeah. So this is how I like to brew my lonely chair. I get this really nice, sweet, heavy texture, and I think it actually matches my intentions behind the story. Let me know in the comments below if you guys like the story or not. I actually had quite a bit of fun kind of producing this kind of video. I really think being able to share and resonate with kind of whatever you're consuming makes a lot more sense. So I hope you guys liked the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.